So, Travel Talk and Travel with Meaning, our mission is to encourage, inspire, and support travel. We come together as Travel Talk, so we come together as a community to hear these stories from our like-minded peers, to be inspired, to go out, and travel, and do things. Keep trying, stay humble, trust your instincts. Most importantly, act. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. So our first guest tonight is one of the most passionate and authentic travelers I've ever met. She's a travel reporter and the founder of Jet Set with Jeannette, combining her travel, passion, and love with media, working with brands all over the world. She's been pretty busy this past year, and she's going to be even busier going forward. Jeannette is going to be hosting the Travel Impact Alliance Conference this July in New York. She was recently named an ambassador to one of my favorite travel platforms, Kind Traveler. She is going to be hosting the Women of the World Summit in October, and was recently recognized by Angelino magazine as a power player in travel. Let's give it up for Jeannette Ceja. What's up?
Thank you so much.
Are you good? Are you live? You're good?
I think I'm live.
What's up? Hi, Jeanette's people.
Hi, Jeanette's people.
First off, let's go to this picture first. Congratulations. So this actually happened last night, these awards, right?
Yes, this happened last night in Los Angeles. Yeah.
So you're a power player in travel.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So I really want to acknowledge you and just let you know. So Jeannette was actually a Travel Talk guest a year ago, June.
Yes.
And I told you this a couple weeks ago, and truly, I've watched you grow as a traveler, as a person over this course of the last year. And Jeanette's really big on visualizing and really kind of putting herself out there.
Yes.
How do you feel from a year ago to where you are now?
Oh my gosh, I feel so, Nicole, you guys seen me grow. It's been a combination of mindset and skill set work. I think a lot of it has to do also with self-love, which sounds super hippity-dippity, but I really feel that once you start loving yourself, you really just see more possibilities. And I never had a fear of failure. I failed plenty of times. I had a fear of success. So I would self-sabotage opportunities because I'm not ready, or I'm not this and I'm not that. But then with self-love comes self-worth, and you're like, can you do this? Yes. And then you're like, how am I going to do this? But you just do it. Like you said, you take the leap.
You just go.
You just go.
You just go. One of my favorite quotes of all time is a Churchill quote: "Success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm."
Yes.
So we saw in the little video, you wrote your first travel book when you were 12 years old.
Yes.
Where'd you want to go in that book?
Everywhere.
Did you have that one place that you, growing up, you're like, I have to get here?
I have this really deep love with Italy. When I went there, that's the trip I went. It was a 10-day bus trip to Europe, and I had a little disposable camera. Social media did not exist then. I don't even think the internet existed. And so I had a little disposable camera and a little journal, and I was so old school, and I said, I have to tell everyone how amazing this world is, and I can't wait to go to CBS and develop this and share it with them, I thought I was the only person in the world doing this. So, and Italy, I wrote down Italy, and I've been to Italy since then about 8 times. I've lived there twice. Parlo Italiano. And I want to be transcontinental. I want to live in Lake Como one day too. Have a home there. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Sounds good to me. I'd like to live there too. So you take that first trip, and then you kind of, you had the bug, right? You wanted to travel. You had the job for a little while, if you will. You worked in sports.
Yes.
You worked as a journalist.
Yes. I worked in news. It was really sad, depressing, and I would cry every day. And I'm very highly sensitive, so for me, news is not for me. And then I did sports, which people would not assume that I can do sports because I'm a very girly girl and I wear dresses. But I grew up watching football, soccer, and so when I had this opportunity to work at Fox Sports, they interviewed me 3 times, and they were impressed that I knew a lot of stuff. And I worked on 40. I was one of 3 girls out of 40 men, and I held my own. So. Okay,
so flip through, and as I mentioned, kind of in the open, both you and Ruben, follow your passion.
Yes.
Right, and wanting to do that thing. So travel just kept showing up. And where was the thing that happened that you said, you know what, I don't want to go work in an office. I'm going to go and make this career happen as a travel reporter, as Jet Set with Jeannette?
Yeah, I think that no matter what job I was doing, whether it was sports or any job, no matter how much money I was being paid, if it wasn't in travel, I was not happy. And I know from my own experience that I've learned, like I had the car, I had the apartment, I had the dream job that everyone thought I had, but internally I was only existing. I'm grateful for sports, but I wanted to travel, and the whole 2-week-a-year corporate thing does not work for me. So every day I was looking at tickets, plane tickets, I was looking at trips, and then when they wanted me to work, I was like, "What? You want me to work? I'm not here to work. I'm here to book my next trip." So yeah.
But was there one thing, either you went somewhere or one moment where you're like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to figure it out"?
Honestly, since I was 12. But the thing is I didn't listen to my heart, my intuition. I followed the paycheck. I didn't follow the passion. So that's the thing. And 3 years ago, I quit and I followed the passion. And now it's like, I don't know who said that saying, if you build it, they will come. Is that famous movie or something?
Feel the Dreams.
Feel the Dreams. Yeah.
Kevin Costner.
I really truly believe if you build yourself, meaning your skill set and your mindset, because I think it's very important, and you work on self-love, it will all build you. People come to you because you become the best version of yourself.
So let's talk about that. Like I said, so you were a Travel Talk guest last year, June, and we talked about places you went. We talked about you diving with whale sharks and dressing up as a geisha, all incredible experiences that we would all love to have. And since then, you've gone to Romania twice.
Yes,
You've
Romania.
gone to Argentina. Before we get to those, I want to even just stop and talk about these amazing things you have coming up in your careers. As I mentioned in the open, you're hosting the Impact Travel Alliance.
Yes.
You were just named a Power Player, ambassador. It's all these things you've been creating.
Yes, it's true. And I really, truly feel that, like I was just saying, it's the skill set. I did Toastmasters. My speech mentor is here. Rona, where are you? Rona, my speech mentor is here. Woohoo! I did Toastmasters for over a year with the intention to be a global public speaker. I also want to be a motivational speaker because I always find myself, I'm a balcony person, and I always want to push people to become their best version of themselves. You know, there's basement people who want to pull you down. Well, I'm going to pull you up. So if you're around me, I'm always going to push you to do more. I don't take excuses. And so that's who my mentors and the best people were to me, right? Because they know you have it in you.
Well, and I wanted to bring all that up again before we dive into some travel, because like I said, I've been fortunate enough to have like a front row seat to watch you just grow and blossom, and as a friend and as an admirer and as a fan of travel.
Yes.
And people who are in the travel space, I love it. So as I just mentioned, you've been to Romania twice.
Yes.
Okay. I want to bring something up because Romania is like on my list. It's there somewhere. It's there. But you've been twice. What about Romania? Why should we go to Romania?
Oh my gosh, and to all the Romanians that are watching right now,
Hello, Romanians.
Hello, Romania. Romanians, I'm a huge ambassador for Romania. I've been there twice in 6 months, and I would go back in a heartbeat. Honestly, I feel like the people, the locals, they're so passionate to share their culture with you. I mean, they were a communist country until a couple years ago, so now they're like, come to our country, and I feel like they don't get the enough exposure or credit that they deserve, like their culture, their traditions, their food, their music. They're so rich in culture, and it's beautiful.
I want to share this picture. So this actually, the first picture right here is you on like an ATV tour or something in Romania, right?
off-roading.
First off, I definitely want to point this out really quick. You're off-roading. Look how dressed to the nines this amazing woman is. Always with a big smile and always dressed to the nines.
Oh my gosh.
You're so great that way.
I'm so embarrassed.
I'm off-roading here. That's great.
The only times I don't wear dresses, it's a true story because my mother can attest to this, is when I'm horseback riding or doing yoga. Every other time I will wear a dress.
Don't get confused with the two.
Yeah, every other time I will wear a dress. Or at a soccer game, a football game, so yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second too. So okay, so Romania, so off-roading, highly recommend Romania.
Highly recommend
But what else about Romania? Like, so we talk about these travel with meaning moments. What was it about Romania? Was it just the connection with the people? Was it the food? Was it like, what was it Romania?
All of the above. I feel like Romania in Eastern Europe, everyone always goes to France or to Italy, which is amazing. But I feel like Romania is that gem of a country that in a couple of years will just explode.
Oh, so you're there before it gets cool.
Yeah, definitely. And the locals there, they're so passionate, like I said, and they're so humble, and they just want to share their culture and country with you. So,
beautiful.
and they really like Americans, people that come, because they're starting to get more tourists from abroad, way far. Yeah.
So within the span of, I think it was like 2 weeks, you went to Romania, and then you went to Argentina, and then like we're home and went right to Romania.
Yeah, I was in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and then that was in Romania. Honestly, again, like I was saying, I am a big believer in law of attraction. I'm a big believer in if you build it, it will come. Opportunities are just, I had to turn down a few trips actually because I physically cannot be everywhere. Like, it's not possible. So
No, she literally lives up to her name, Jet Set with Jeannette, where you're like, she's home for like 24 hours and she's gone again, which is great. It's just, I think you're taking it all in. So when you're there, and so let's say it's a press trip or you're going doing this stuff, and you're going and you have scheduled things you're doing, right? So you're going and you're having meals at certain places, or you're going to see certain museums. Are you getting a chance to really soak it in, or are you going so fast?
I like to have some time to myself. I'm truly that explorer that I like to take a walk, and I'm also very independent, so I like to go off, have some free time on my own.
Is there something you like to do, like sort of a ritual you do in each city?
Eat.
I got that. Is there are you like a cafe watcher? Like, I love to just sit in a coffee shop, right, and just kind of watch the locals and just like feel like, oh, could I live here? This is kind of great. Are you?
I like to just go for a walk. I mean, some of the best advice that I got was from Samantha Brown, and she said just go for a walk. So I like to just go for a walk, get lost. I mean, not too lost, but get lost, and then find these little gems on my way, and meet the locals. I love to meet the locals. I always ask the locals, like, where do you eat? Where do you go? And I go there on my own.
I see you also went to a soccer match in Argentina.
So anyone who likes football, soccer here?
Oh,
is anyone watching the World Cup, by the way? Woohoo! Okay, cool.
My dad definitely is.
Your dad?
He just got excited.
Yes, he just woke up.
He did. You saw him. He did. She knows you.
Yeah. So, okay.
So cute.
Okay, I worked in soccer channel for a couple years. I went to the World Cup in Brazil. I thought I loved football, but the Boca Juniors game is on a whole nother level. By the way, I was not wearing that jersey when I went to the game. I was actually wearing a Mexico jersey, which is not good. I mean, Mexico's great, but a lesson learned, if you ever go to Boca Juniors game, you can only wear Boca Juniors jersey. And I don't really know if foreigners are that allowed to go. Anyways, security is very, very, very.
Do they make you put another jersey on?
Yeah, I had to literally get that jersey for that game, and I was escorted to my seat.
They make you buy the jersey?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't go in,
tool.
and I couldn't bring in the Mexican jersey with me. I had to leave it outside the stadium. It was really intense. I mean, if you go to Boca Juniors game, you could only be a Boca Juniors fan or just pretend that you are, because you can't go in.
There's no other team to go to?
No, there's no other team. Oh. That's it. You're a fan, and that's it. So that's an amazing experience.
Did you get the jersey back?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I put the Mexican one back on.
I'm just making sure. We have it now for the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to go to one thing, because we started talking about your career and what you've been doing, and I wanted to put this picture up of Anthony Bourdain, because you and I were talking about this leading up to this talk tonight, and how much he meant to you and how much he meant to a lot of travelers, especially in this community here.
Yes.
So I wanted you just to share the time when you got a chance to interview him, which was a big deal in your career.
Absolutely. This interview with Anthony Bourdain continues to be, now more than ever, one of the highlights of my career. I grew up, who grew up watching Bourdain on Travel Channel or CNN? I mean, he was truly one of a kind. He inspired me to want to be a travel host. I mean, I know his focus was more culinary food, but I love the way he always went against the norms. Like when he went to Egypt, he said, I don't want to go to the pyramids, take me somewhere else, And he's just so badass. He is who he is, he's an amazing he was an amazing person. So 3 generations of women, my mother who's here, me and my niece.
Let's give a shout out to your mother real quick.
Mommy,
Thank you for being here.
We all.
And she's in town visiting.
She's in town visiting.
Okay.
Yes, we all have major crushes on. We had major crushes on
Still
Anthony
do.
Bourdain. I mean, still do. Always thought he was hot and everything. So it's kind of off the topic, but anyways. So years ago, I found out that he was going to be doing a red carpet at Tribeca Film Festival. Now, if you knew about Anthony Bourdain, he didn't really like to do as much press. He never did red carpets to my knowledge. And when I found out, I did as much as I could to get on that red carpet. So I pitched myself to about 10 or 20 different outlets. I got tons of no's and I got one yes. And even if they didn't say yes, I still would have flown myself out there and been on the red carpet like a weirdo, but I would have been there because I would not have missed an opportunity. That's how much he meant to me. He was more than a celebrity, he was more than an idol, he was really something for me, a mentor, like a distant relative. I know that sounds weird, but that's how much I'm sure he meant a lot to a lot of people too. So.
How was the interview?
The interview was amazing. So Tribeca Film Festival, he was an executive producer on a film for Jeremiah Latorre, who's a chef. And so he had to do the red carpet, and there's a long row of reporters, and I was really, really nervous. I don't get starstruck by celebrities, see them every day. I see Larry King every day, who I love. I see celebrities every day living in Los Angeles, and I don't get starstruck. But if they're travel people, I get starstruck, So I remember all the New York reporters kept telling me, because I was really nervous, they're like, please go first. And I was like, I'm so nervous, oh my God. And so he did the photos first, and I was one of the first reporters to interview him. Couldn't have been more nice, more humble, generous, and I was literally shaking. I was like, oh my God, I love you, you're so hot.
That's amazing. I wanted to just put the picture of Anthony up because, again, I know he meant a lot to you, but I know he meant a lot to people in this travel community, and we're grateful for what he did carve out in the path of people, and showing that you can go against the grain, right?
Yes.
And do what you want, and really just go.
Yes.
And back to the whole theme of leap and that will appear, and trust yourself.
That's what I'm saying is when I saw he was on a red carpet, there was nothing set in stone for me to go. There was nothing, and I made a way. I literally pitched myself, and I had the mindset that if nobody hired me, I'm still going. I'm gonna just show up outside the red carpet, and hopefully not think I'm a weirdo, but
Hopefully not. So we talked about some of these things you're hosting coming up. What about other assignments or things are you working on? I know you were doing the stuff for Telemundo. Was that?
Univision.
Yes, I apologize. And that was.
Yes.
So tell us about what that was.
Yes. So I'm bilingual. My family's from Mexico, and my mother to this day only speaks in Spanish. But I'm really grateful for that because for me, I just want to reach as many people as I can to inspire them to travel, whether that's local, national, or internationally. And I lived in Nashville for 12 years, so they had the station out there, and they contacted me because they wanted me to start contributing some stories for them. And so that opened those doors for me. And so it's just the beginning of that.
Amazing. So I'm going to ask you the question that, kind of what this is all about, but what does travel mean to you?
Travel to me means education in the sense that we learn from each other. We break stereotypes either from certain cultures or countries. To me, every time I travel, I realize how much I don't know, but I come back to the USA and I'm so grateful for everything we have, and I appreciate everything. And once you get bitten by the travel bug, there's no cure but to keep traveling. So for me, and I'm a huge visionary. Besides travel, I also do a lot of things for women. I'm a huge advocate for women. I'm an ambassador for the Synergy of Empowered Women, a free wheelchair mission, and Kind Traveler. So I work with a lot of nonprofits as well. For me, travel is something bigger than myself. It's never been about fame or money. It's about actually making a difference in this world. And I hoped only to inspire and ignite passion to travel within people. So the vision is huge. The big dream is to host and produce my own international travel show that's bilingual. and to build a platform as big as Oprah or like Ariana Huffington, and keep being an ambassador and advocate for women. I'm huge. I love empowering women. So.
All right. I love that. I totally acknowledge you for all that. But now I'm ready for the nitty gritty. I want a story of you that you've traveled. You travel a lot by yourself. You have all these things. Tell us this story when you were somewhere where you were not only feeling, not I want to use the word afraid, but feeling that that moment that came to you, that travel with meaning moment, where you were somewhere that really kind of left you a little in awe.
I feel like 2 trips in my life, Cuba. And if you haven't been to Cuba, I highly recommend Cuba, for sure. And I was on an island in Fiji one time too, and this sticks with me to this day. It's about happiness, and I'm gonna go a little hippity-dippity here, but I really truly feel what travel also teaches you is that happiness is an inside job, because the happiest people I've ever met in my life lived in a hut made of mud and sticks, and they had nothing. And they were the happiest, most humble people I've ever met.
And so you met these people when you were in Fiji?
Yeah, I mean, of course, they had the beautiful backyard,
of course.
still, I mean, they were walking barefoot, and they invited you into their home, which was rocks and literally nothing. And if they had a piece of bread, they would break it and give it to you.
And it's the perception of that. And I like to share about being in Thailand or somewhere like that, where you see a gentleman sweeping the floor who appears to have nothing, but to him it's his everything. And he's got the biggest smile on his face. And all those experiences, then when you do come back here and you see all the stuff we have here, and you take a lot of stuff for granted, and you realize that sometimes the people who do have less are the ones who really feel like they have so much more. So Fiji?
Yeah, and Cuba.
And what about Cuba was so moving for you?
I have a really fun story about Cuba. Last day of Cuba was Labor Day for them. So Raul Castro was speaking, and everything was closed except for one little coffee shop and a hotel. And I actually had coffee without knowing with the Prince of Luxembourg, whose mom is Cuban, and he's friends with me to this day. But that was really interesting.
Is he a Facebook friend?
Yeah, he's Facebook.
Is he
he's
like
probably
watching us?
Yeah, probably.
Hey.
Hi, Sebastian.
Hi.
And the thing about that experience was he was so in khakis, so nonchalant, and didn't really have any security. And even if he was, the travel teaches you just to approach everyone and have a conversation. And a funny fact is, I didn't find out he was a prince until a week later. So you never know.
Which is sometimes great. It's like you do when you travel, you put down all your guards, right? And you have those authentic moments. Because if he was Prince of Luxembourg at the time, maybe the conversation would have gone different.
Exactly, and I think that's what travel teaches you, is to be approachable, approach people, get out of your comfort zone. If you're around me, you're gonna want to travel. I mean, you're gonna want to travel.
It's true. You're a little infectious. Where to next? Where are you off to?
Off to Florida on Sunday, and then I will be in Seattle, and then New York for the Impact Travel Alliance Global Conference. And then, like you were saying, I just found out that I will be the travel host for the World Women's Summit in October. Yes, I'm really excited. So this is just the beginning. I'm visualizing more things as I go, but again, it's just taking the leap.
Incredible. We had our social up before, but it's Jet Set with Jeannette.
Yes.
And if you say it a couple times, it sticks in your head. Like every day I find myself.
The way you say it is the best.
Jet Set with Jeannette. I don't know. I find myself constantly saying it.
I actually want that as my ringtone.
You should. Let's open up. Any questions for Jeannette?